with mainly Tiger Woods. No, everybody. JT's in that group, and we're going to have some fun. Rory's in that group. We got a great group to follow in the morning. So that starts tomorrow. So what we're going to do here, walk with me, Mason. We're going to go on the side of this fairway, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the golf course. As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day here. Thank goodness, because yesterday it was a slog fest. So much rain, but it is a fantastic golf course, and I think the scores are going to be really low this week. Mason, let's go down here and show this grass if we can. So this is really cool feature. It's called zoysia grass. Those of you who know golf know this grass really well. If you've ever played on zoysia grass, it's really fun to play with, especially for hacks like myself, because the ball just sits up nice and pretty on it. They don't actually play a lot of tournaments on zoysia grass, so this will be a nice gift for some of these players. But all these fairways are zoysia. We actually have, I don't know if anybody's teeing off yet, so we still got some time to walk. But we have two legends with us, Trevor Immelman, Billy Kratzert. We're all going to be part of the TNT and PGA.com crew. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining us here.
I'm with my two little buddies right here.
Yeah, it makes you feel tall. Makes you feel tall.
I just had to do that.
Well, you know, we appreciate that.
It's interesting, the zoysia grass, because Justin Rose yesterday said that, you know, it's almost like cheating. I mean, it's such a hand up because the ball is perched on top of the grass. It's sturdy, kind of a slow recovery grass, but I know you like playing on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you played here, Trev, in 2008. You competed here.
That's right, at the playoff event that we have here, had here, and golf course is pretty much unchanged, just a few tweaks, but it's a big golf course. I think length can really be to your advantage, and like you say, the zoysia grass, the ball just sits up like a coconut, and is really asking for you to sweep it off the deck really nicely. One of the things that we can watch for here, you know, for all the golf nuts out there, is I think because the ball sits up so nicely, players are going to be getting a lot more spin on their iron shots. So, you know, with the greens being a little bit soft right now, with all the rain that we've had, the guys are going to have to pay attention to that, with exactly how much is the ball spinning, particularly on their wedge shots. They've got to be a little bit more mindful of if that ball is going to be spinning back too much for them. So maybe we'll see some more armed wedge shots in there, trying to take the spin off, keep the trajectory down.
I think you're going to see guys flight it. I think, you know, if they're in between clubs, they're going to go with the one more club, try to hit it just a little bit softer, try to minimize the spin. And you know, we had a meeting with Kerry Haig in charge of the championship and the course setup and everything, and he's looking forward to these guys coming out here and showcasing their skills and taking it low and hearing a bunch of roars out here.
Well, I know somebody's about to tee off, so let's just slip over here to the side. Hopefully we can see a couple of golf shots if they don't mind, but this golf course is a really big golf course, and it does have some history, and these two know the history of this place well. But what's interesting about this particular venue is that in 1965, Gary Player completed his career Grand Slam here. That was a U.S. Open, but we have a chance to complete a career Grand Slam once again, and that's Jordan Spieth, and this is going to be his second crack at it, Billy. So of all the headliners, I think Tiger's certainly a headliner for sure, but Jordan Spieth and the opportunity to maybe get a Grand Slam, a career Grand Slam, at 25 years of age has to be on your list.
I would think so. And when you look at his body of work this year, where he has struggled has been the greens. And the greens are going to be a little bit slower because of the heat and everything. That's what they're going to have to do in order to keep him at a consistent pace. But I think that bodes well for him. I think the fact that players are going to miss putts this week. And, hey, if he doesn't get it done this week, he only has to wait one more major because this is moving to May. There's going to be 2 PGA Championships in the 3 majors that we play next.
He'll have 2 out of 3 chances moving to May. I do want to talk about moving to May, but I want to ask you about Tiger, because I feel like that's obviously a big headline coming in here. And as somebody who's played a lot with him, against him, you've competed against him. Here he is, just a few years older than you, Trevor. He's 42 years old. What do you see in his game, and what are your expectations of him?
Well, I think he's really has started to play well this season. He hasn't been able to put it all together at one time just yet, but you know, in different spurts, we've seen all parts of his game really fire. And You know, not long ago at the Open, he was leading the tournament with 6 or 7 holes to play, and it was interesting listening to him. You know, he said that he definitely realized at that point, hey, I'm leading at a major again, and you know, maybe that, as crazy as what this sounds for one of the most accomplished players we've ever seen, but maybe that moment just kind of got to him again after all the time of being able to having to sit out. And wonder if he's ever going to play again. All of a sudden, here he is, leading a major championship again. And unfortunately, we saw him make those 2 bogeys there at 11 and 12, and then Molinari came through with some brilliant golf. But I wouldn't be all that surprised if Tiger Woods won this week. I think this golf course will suit his eye. It's got a little bit of room off the tee. The fairways are quite generous. You know, his form is coming back.
All right, I like that. Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, and the fairways being a little bit softer. You're not going to get that run out on zoysia grass. So Trevor's saying that the fairways are wide. They're going to play a little bit wider, I think. And where he struggled as well has been with the putter. He hasn't been able to cap off that important putt at that critical time. So other players are going to miss putts. So you look at Spieth and Woods, I would say that the way that the golf course is going to play this week, I think it sets up well for him.
All right, let's take a little bit of walk because I want to ask you guys a couple of things. These are our experts. Brian Anderson here, Trevor Immelman, Billy Kratzert. Thank you if you're just picking us up on all the social channels at PGA.com or wherever you are, Twitter, Facebook. If you want to send some questions in, we'll try to get those out. We're just going to cruise down hole number 1. These guys, and I like to join them, we like to walk the course. So yesterday we walked the back 9. And today we're going to walk the outward 9 and just see what each hole presents. And, of course, Trevor's played here. But I do think there's a couple of interesting things here. I know we're in the firing line here, so hopefully we don't get smoked. But let's see this drive and see where it lands. Ball's in the air. And let's see if we can find it in the fairway. There it is. So that's like squeezed right between the 2 bunkers there, which is a really interesting play. And now these guys are walking our way. So before they get here, guys, would you mind just telling me real quick about the rough? Because one thing that we see, they're not going to mow it anymore. And it kind of goes both ways, right? So it's into the grain and down grain, depending on where your ball lands. And I'm assuming that's for aesthetics. You get the stripes on it. But what about the rough here, Billy, that you see throughout this golf course with so much rain that they've had leading up to today?
Well, I think it's a mixture of the fescue and the rye, and then you might have sprinkling of Kentucky bluegrass in there as well. But Trevor was talking about the 18th hole. If you put it in the rough to the right, not only do you create an angle, but the rough is not all that penal over there. So it all depends on the drainage. You're going to catch the spots where, if we look over here to the left a little bit more, I mean, you get to going against the grain of that grass right there, then you're busy trying to actually, and then back into the grain. So if you're going against the grain right there, if you'll be going with the grain, so that would be easy. But if you go against the grain, then that stuff can get a little sticky, and therefore the shots can go pretty much any direction.
Yeah, I like the length of it right now because it's still it's at that length where the ball is not going to totally disappear for the most part, so it's enticing the players. It's always enticing them to try and play a little bit more aggressively, maybe take an extra risk. And I like that. Because I like the variable of the player wondering, is it going to jump and come out hot or is it going to come out soft? I think that shows extra skill of how to read the lie. How are you able to control exactly how you strike the ball? So I think the length that they have it right now is perfect.
All right. And as we watch these guys, they're making their way up here. So we'll kind of like sneak in behind them. And if they don't mind, we'll try to see a shot or two. We'll see who it is first. But we'll see what these guys, remember, these guys can wear shorts, and that's been an interesting look. Last year at the PGA at Quail Hollow, Tour players and professional players were allowed to wear shorts in their practice rounds. So it's an interesting look, and I like that because it's hot out here. That's a big part of playing in St. Louis in August. And so these fairways are beautiful. Billy, I wanted to ask you about one of the things we were talking about the other day was the bunkers. And if you end up in a fairway bunker, how penal would that be, and what other conditions that would surround this? Don't fall in the bunker, Mason. What other conditions surround this would be a challenge?
I think the bunkering, as far as the fairway bunkers are concerned, I think they're more than fair. You look at the greenside bunkering, you'll see some really deep bunkers underneath the level of the putting. Very difficult, but as you look at the way that the bunker is right, I mean, even the furrows of the rake are going towards the green. The edges are pretty smooth, but they don't have the depth to where the player's going to have to really try to elevate the ball quickly out of the bunker. So if they do miss a fairway, being in the fairway bunker certainly is not a bad option.
Yeah. And you see how when we get to the greenside bunkers in a moment, as we finish up this, that's where a lot of the challenges really lie. So that you look at some of the bunkers and the depth of them around the greens, and then maybe a little bit of the distance between the bunkers to the greens. It seems like there's a few long bunker shots that could eat you alive out here if you miss.
Well, I think the fact that the greens are soft, and if you catch that long bunker shot green side, you're not going to see the guys play the little chunk and run and let it release out. That becomes a more difficult proposition player.
All right, let's check this approach out. We don't want to. We'll keep it.
Sharma.
We'll be quiet. We'll watch Sharma. His approach at the first. So this is a typical. I assume he had driver here, Billy. You think, or probably maybe 3-wood. But this is a pretty common landing place.
He recreated the shot last week at Bridgestone of Tiger in the dark.
Beautiful. Good looking shot, just a little left of the pin and a little short, and just spins right off the front edge there. Trevor, we were talking a little bit about weather and the rain, and a lot of this is not a regular tour rotation event, right? So how much did these players miss yesterday? How much stress does that add because you didn't get a lot of practice time? They were on and off the golf course, horn sounded a few times. I mean, what's that like for Player Day being now a day before the competition starts?
Absolutely. They definitely would have had to adjust their routines somewhat. Also with the fact that playing such a big tournament last week, a lot of the players, like Tiger, for instance, spoke about taking Monday off, trying to recover and trying to just relax and get his body ready again. And so with that storm that rolled in yesterday, like you said, he only got to play 5 holes yesterday. And so he had to do a lot of homework today to get out here and take a look at the whole golf course and make sure that he was, just aware of everything that was that's out here. And so definitely, but experienced players who've been on tour for many years, we're going through this week in and week out. So it will be annoying, but we're accustomed to it, and so we understand how to roll with the punches. And also, something to add that's quite interesting is this is where a great caddy and a good player-caddy relationship really can be of advantage, because those guys will be out here, making sure they walk the course and they know where the rough is maybe a little thinner, or, like I just paced off here. If you play back a little bit here on the first hole, you've got a 40-yard wide fairway. But if you try and drive it up a little further there into those traps and want to take a bit more of a risk, then it's only 25 yards wide. So, these are the things that the caddies and players will be trying to notice. But because of this weather that's rolled in, there will still be some guys that are still learning the course come tomorrow.
It doesn't feel like a course that has a lot of tricks to it, right? It's out in front of you, so maybe a blessing that at this time of year, next year will be a different story when the PGA's in May, but we're in August right now, and it's hot, and might be a little bit of a blessing that the horn sounds and you don't have that urgency to go practice. I've got to get my work in, or else I don't feel like I can get to a place I can compete. It almost forced them inside to shut it down for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. It's a ball striker's paradise, this golf course. Exactly like you said, it's right in front of you, and you've basically just got to step up and execute. There's nothing hidden from the players here. It's just going to be a stern examination of, can I pull it off when it matters?
Come down here with me, Mason. Listen, because I want to. These guys were pointing this out yesterday, but look, and this is not even the deepest bunker, but every time you're down in here, there's a lot of shots that are there are a lot of results that you're not going to be able to see, right? So, from our vantage point, and as you get another 5 feet, 10 feet lower, you may see half the flag stick, maybe just the top of the flag. So, it's an easy shot for a professional player, but there is that little bit of uncertainty there that you're not seeing the result of where the ball is going to land. So you really have to do your work on the greens, and every green out here has some of these really deep bunkers, and they're, like I said, they're a little set off the greens too, so it gives you some long bunker shots. So Billy, talking about the bunkers, is there a skill that you would practice here that you wouldn't necessarily somewhere else because of the length of some of these bunker shots, the size of the greens? If you're in this bunker and this pin's over here, right, that feels like a bit of an unusual bunker shot, what you may normally see.
Right, only because of the depth of the greenside bunkers. So, 60 degree, a lot of guys are carrying 62, 64 degrees, so that's not going to be an issue. Where I think the difficulty would be, Brian, would be if you're in that bunker and then you're having to go to this whole location over here. Yes, you would like to drop it just over the ridge, the brow coming off of this bunker, and then let it release down to the hole. And I don't think with the green speeds that they're going to be able to do that as easily. They're going to have to monitor the trajectory of that bunker shot. And out of a deep bunker, how do you do that? Because your main concern right away is to elevate it quickly. So you're going to put it up in the air, and to get it to go forward, that's going to be a difficult task.
How about a quick agronomy lesson on what we're looking at here, Billy? This is bent grass. It's August in St. Louis.
Correct.
How do they keep it together like this?
Well, you really, you really have to be gentle with it. You certainly don't want it to get too stressed because stress, and then you don't want to overwater it, because if you overwater it with the heat, then you can kind of boil the roots. Right. I mean, it is such a fine line of making sure that the greens are good. And with all the rain and the cold that they had in April, then the heat that they had in May, and continuing on, the greens are actually really good. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to look on TV. You and I are going to see.
We'll find out.
But I think they're going to be fine. And I think they've done a nice job capping the edge with the fringes. You can see right here, it's healed in nicely into the Zoysia fairway. So all of this should be pretty good. And from what I've seen, this golf course is, pristine shape.
Yeah, let's certainly give kudos to Superintendent Arroyo and his staff, because dealing with the extreme high temperatures a couple of weeks ago in St. Louis, and then the extreme rain, they had 1.5 inches yesterday. They've really done a great job. I love this venue and this golf course. And okay, this is a good scene, Mason. We are on a Wednesday practice round, and you can hardly move around here. So the grandstand behind the first green is packed. Hi, everybody. It's very nice and quiet golf wave right there. This is a practice round, right? And look, the sea of people here going to the second tee and trying to drive through our carts that we try to maneuver through. It's really difficult to get through, and that's a great thing, because St. Louis fans are outstanding sports fans, and they're going to pack this place.
There's a guy that should do well right there, at least in my opinion. The length that he hits it off the tee, Daniel Berger. Yeah. I think with the soft conditions, he loves to play aggressively, and I would think that he's one of the guys that might be there on the weekend.
Daniel Berger just teed off number one. Practice round's going on. I think our time is running to an end here. I don't see Trevor, but we'll thank him. And thank you, Billy. We'll see you on TV tomorrow.
You got it,
awesome, Billy. The great Billy Kratzert. He's in the Hall of Fame in the state of Indiana, Fort Wayne legend. So that's kind of our trip. We're going to carry on, continue to walk the course. Hopefully we'll have some information to deliver your way tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we're on PGA.com. We kick it off right about the 8 o'clock hour Central Time, so 9 o'clock Eastern. And Tiger Woods and Rory and Justin Thomas is going to be great fun tomorrow. And then TNT's coverage starts in the afternoon. CBS will come in on the weekend, so between PGA.com, DirecTV, TNT, CBS, you'll be able to catch as much golf as you want. So Brian Anderson signing off from the first green at Bellerive.